Recently, I did something for the first time ever in Warhammer, something I've never done before. I gave up on a project halfway through. So recently I had an idea for a video to paint up some Red Corsair Traitor Guardsmen. I filmed like an entire intro section, a whole bunch of painting, even a little like midpoint review. And then I was just looking at the models and I was like, man, I hate them. They're so ugly. I just can't gel with the design choices and the colours I've picked, and I'm just really not happy with them. So I kind of just gave up. You know, I got really down about it and I was like, I don't want to put this video out. Like, the models are bad, I'm not motivated or positive about it. It's just going to be a terrible, boring, miserable video. But I thought what we could do today, actually, because it's been a little while, is we can look at the minis we painted, reflect on how we got here, what caused the problems, and how we can prevent it in the future, and maybe fix up minis that we don't like, all while painting an actual nice looking Red Corsair Traitor Guardsman. So let's go down to the table and just take a look at these ugly little minis. And here they are, the two Red Corsair Traitor Guardsmen that I'm just really not happy with. So yeah, like, technically, like, the painting aspect of it is not too bad. I think it's quite a nice clean application. Like, if we look at this dude for a sec, like, his helmet's got like some nice highlights to them. There's some nice chip damage on the black shoulder pad. It's just the overall vibe of the minis I don't like. Like this dude, for example, there's just too much black, like the black armor pads, the clothes, the grey highlights, little bits of red. It's just the overall vibe of the mini I just don't really like. And then this dude here is in a similar vein. There's just too much red and it doesn't gel with the black. Like, I don't like that face mask or that red panel on his helmet. It just doesn't look nice, you know, like, something about it, I just, ugh. I thought what we could do today, like I mentioned in the intro, is just have a chat about how we got here. Yeah, how do we get to the point where there's these minis we just don't like? What do you do when you get to a point like this? Like, how do we fix the problem? And also, how do you prevent getting to this position in the future, you know, so we don't do it again? Luckily, though, we also have 10 of these boys. These weren't the only two in the box. We have this also freshly unpainted Red Corsair Traitor Guardsman that we can now paint up with this defined recipe that I've actually got planned out, because that was the first problem. I didn't come into this video or these minis with a plan. And if you watched my videos before, I kind of don't really like have a plan all the time. I kind of fly by the seat of my pants, and I kind of like that vibe of the videos. You know, I like the authenticity, the kind of real-time thought process. But I do think that it's about finding a balance with that, because sometimes, like in this Red Corsair Traitor Guardsman issue, it causes problems. Like, the guys I painted up weren't that nice because I didn't have a plan. I was just like, oh, I'll use some reds and some blacks. I painted some Red Corsairs, I'll just sort of wing it. And I think that's kind of caused the problem. I didn't have a plan going in. I didn't sort of try things out beforehand. I just kind of flew by the seat of my pants, and it resulted in some minis where I just did not like the colours. So I guess what we need to do in the future maybe is just kind of find a nice balance, you know. I was watching this YouTube channel called More Warhammer. Great videos, he's a really cool guy, and he does a lot of box to board challenges where he takes a whole box of minis and paints them all up in one go, basically. And he said the most important part for him at the start of the project is taking one model out of the box and doing like a tester model and being like, oh, okay, let's try some stuff out. How do we feel? What colours do we like? I think that's definitely something I need to incorporate more going forward. You know, I do still like to keep the real-time thought process in these videos, the sort of the live reactions, the live commentary, the real thoughts as they're happening, because that's the part of my videos I really like. The fact you get to sort of have a little peek into my chaotic mind and what I'm thinking and feeling at the moment, and the whole painting process in real time. But I do think sometimes I need to have a bit more of a plan going in. Maybe painting up a tester model beforehand, even if it's a box like this where I've got like 10 Traitor Guardsmen so I can afford to. Or maybe even just taking a little bit more time researching colour schemes, tutorials, maybe reference pictures, because I think that's definitely something that can help. Just taking 10-15 minutes before a project and going, right, let's look into like a whole bunch of different pictures that people have done, a whole bunch of different ideas, maybe some tutorials people have already done, just to get a rough idea of what the options are out there. Because there's always things to learn, and there's always other aspects you might not have thought of. Like, for example, with this dude, what we're going to do eventually is, instead of the horrible black clothes that we've done in the previous boys, we're actually going to use some like tan colours like Ushabti Bone and Screaming Skull to paint up some of the cloaks, which isn't something I even considered before starting these boys. I was just going to be like, oh, we'll make them all black and all red, and because that's the colours of the Red Corsairs, you know, we'll just be safe. We're not going to try anything else. But I've just taken 15, 20, maybe even just 5 minutes prior to this project and just doing a little bit of research, a little bit of prep. I would have seen some of these cool images online that I found afterwards that saw, yeah, you get some cool like khaki, carrot stone, Ushabti Bone type clothes, and it makes a really nice kind of like desert trench, like war-torn kind of dude. You know, you don't have to stick with the blacks and the reds. And I think that also kind of ties into the other issue and how we ended up here was sometimes I don't really experiment as much as I should, you know. Sometimes I play a little bit too safe. I kind of get into my habits and go, oh, well, for this example, Red Corsairs, red and black, I'll just stick with those nice and easy. When it's like, no, actually, if you maybe just think about it a little bit more, maybe try and experiment, maybe try some tans or some blues or even like some wild green colours in there. You know, you can actually find there's some cool, interesting recipes and stuff, because I definitely think at times I try and play a little bit too safe, you know, which is kind of ironic because I feel like I switch, I feel like I flip and flop between going crazy and trying out loads of different like colours and styles and different things, and then also sometimes I just flip to the complete other side of the spectrum, like with this dude, and just go completely safe and go, oh no, just the black, just the red, it's simple, it's easy. So I definitely think, similar to the pre-planning, I think it's about finding a balance between how much experimentation do you want to do and how much do you want to play it safe. But then again, that probably ties back into the planning, where you can, before you start a project, plan out, okay, for this guy, maybe I'm going to play it safe because it's like a centerpiece model that I really like and I kind of don't want to go crazy. But maybe with these Red Corsair Traitor Guardsmen, I've got 10 of them. Maybe one or two of them can just be wild, crazy tan. Maybe one can be green. Maybe one can be muted and black. So I think it's definitely thinking about the project a lot more and planning. I think maybe I keep making all these points, but they all just come back to the same thing. Maybe take a little bit more planning and preparation. So we've identified how we ended up here. Just a lack of planning, just jumping in head first, not really thinking about the project as a whole, and also getting a bit too comfortable and not really pushing ourselves, you know. I would dare say, be a little bit lazy. Just looking at our other Red Corsairs mini and being like, yeah, we'll just slap on some reds and blacks, it'll be fine. So what do we do now that we've got these minis we don't like? Well, what I did was I just stepped away from the whole project, not just painting like one section. I literally put all the minis down, put them to one side, stepped away for a few days, and then came back to it fresh. You know, I did some research on some other Red Corsair Traitor Guardsmen, non-Red Corsair versions, even some like normal loyalist guardsmen, just to try and get some ideas of what they look like and sort of where colours go. And that really helped me a lot, and I managed to correct the original issue of no planning. So after doing all that research, I managed to find a combination of colours I liked, and then I also managed to like do a little tester model and like try out those colours and try out different things and really just take this tester model and just try stuff out without worrying about what it looks like. And I think that's really helped me, and definitely something I'm probably going to do going forward on big projects like this. It's hard to do when you have like a character. Like, for example, I'm going to paint up the Korps Master Apothecary from Masters of the Maelstrom probably after this. And it's kind of hard to experiment and do a tester model when it's one character. But on a box like this and a squad like this, when you've got 10 minis, it's easy just to use one to just test it, you know, try out like, oh, I'll put green on this leg and blue on that leg and red over here, and just see what you like the look of, and trying out different highlights or different colours or anything, and just kind of throwing caution to the wind. Because in the end, as permanent as the paint feels, it is really not, because the next step of how to fix all these problems after you've got a plan of action and a recipe you like is to strip them. You know, like at the end of the day, it might feel permanent that when you put paint on and it's there and it's hard to get rid of, you can just get a tub of isopropyl alcohol, dunk the boys in for half an hour, and then just strip them clean and start again, which is exactly what we're going to do with the two we don't like eventually. We're just going to dunk them in a pot, strip all the paint away, and all those horrors and the worries and the problems we had, they're going to melt away into the isopropanol just with the paint, and we can start nice and fresh. Which I think is something I need to remember, you know, like as permanent as the paint feels, it is not. There's always like that get out of jail free card of the isopropanol alcohol. So yeah, just a nice little reflection on how we got here, you know, what happened, how are we going to fix it, and what have we learned from it going forward, so in the future we don't really make the same mistakes and have those sort of negative feelings, because it's a hobby at the end of the day. It's meant to be fun. It's not that serious, and you shouldn't be getting that upset over some poorly painted minis, especially when you've got the holy grail that is isopropanol alcohol to fix all of your problems. So with that all being said, let's get back down to the live commentary and finish painting up this Red Corsair Traitor Guardsman, because I've got some cool ideas now and some things I've tried out that I'm keen to show you guys, because yeah, I'm really excited to paint the rest of these models now that I've done some actual planning and put some thought into it. Right, and here we are, right back at where I was just before I ruined the last models and started hating them. So we've put all of the red on the armor panels, all of the black, and then all of the leather boots on as well. So the next up from here is the cloaks, and like I mentioned, this is where I ruined them last time. But like we've just spoken about, I've done some preparation, some research, and some planning, and I'm actually really excited about what I've got planned for these dudes. So again, like we mentioned, I actually did a tester model. Look at this little dude. There we go. So I did some research, and I saw online someone actually did the kill team, painted them up as Red Corsairs, and they used like a tan desert color on the robes. So they use like Zandri Dust, Ushabti Bone to make this sort of like Desert Storm look. And I do really like it. It's nice. And again, with this guy, just a pure tester. We were messing around. So this side is Zandri Dust with Agrax Earthshade and then a little bit of Ushabti Bone highlights. And this side I tried to go a little bit lighter. So I put down Ushabti Bone, then some Agrax Earthshade, and actually tried to highlight it with like Screaming Skull, I think, just to sort of push the brightness. Again, just trying to take a model, not be too stressed over it, and just try and experiment things out. So I do like the overall vibe of this. I think I might stick with Ushabti Bone and then Agrax Earthshade, like a watered down version on top, and then we can do some light highlights of Screaming Skull. So that's exactly what we're going to do on this dude here, now that we're all prepared. There we go, that looks so much nicer. Yeah, I mean, I've already stripped the old boys, so I've got no comparison to make. Maybe I can put a picture up here. But yeah, that vibrant khaki tan colour looks so much nicer. I just left the trousers Ushabti Bone and Earthshade. I'm not really that great at layering up cloth. Like, you can tell by the tester model, like, look at the state of that knee, it's awful. So what I thought I'd do is just leave the trousers, just, yeah, base and shade, but then the top coat, I'll build up some layers of like Ushabti Bone and Screaming Skull just to differentiate it a little bit. Something I learned from the tester model. So yeah, it's like the points we made at the start are paying off. So like I looked at the tester model and thought the trousers and the cloak kind of blend in a bit too much. So I thought if we maybe relayer up and brighten up the cloak, but leave the trousers dark, makes for some nice separation. So yeah, already proven our point in learning something that yeah, a tester model can help in so many ways, not just what colour goes where, but also how to shade and build stuff up. So yeah, really happy with that, thank God. But we're not even going to stop there. There's more to come with the whole cloak situation. So I was thinking not just having all of them be the same sort of tan colour. I think maybe 7 or 8 of them probably will be. But you've just watched me paint up this dude. He's like the leader. He's got the backpack and the gun and the melee weapon. He's like the sergeant. Look at him. He's in charge. I was thinking just to differentiate him, to try a different colour for this dude. Mostly because I was looking at an old Kriegsman I painted. So yeah, not even looking online, just looking back at some old stuff that I've done. And I saw this coat, which is, it's like some light greys. It's like Eshin Mechanicus Standard and like Dawnstone, all layered up. And I was thinking that might look quite nice against the red, you know, rather than the old horrible like all black that I did before, maybe some lighter greys. So we're going to try that out as well. We're going to grab these greys, see if we can do like something similar and have a nice light grey cloak. Oh yeah, that's looking so much better. Oh my god, that grey, like the light greys is looking really nice, especially against the red. It's really, really cool. And then if you slap him next to the tan dude, yeah, imagine like 7 or 8 of these dudes, and then the light grey like general leading them forward. Really happy with how that's turned out. Super happy with this, especially considering how much I disliked the last ones. But there is one final thing, because I'm kind of on a bit of a roll now. So before we jump onto the final details, like the weapons and like the belts and stuff, there's not much left other than that. But before we go on to that, like I mentioned, we're on a bit of a roll, Ken. I got the ball going, so I got an idea and something I want to try out as well. And I've got this guy here, he's like a sniper. And he's got this cool cloak like at the back of him. You can kind of see already what I've like tried and looked at. So with my Red Corsairs, here's like a raider that I painted up, and for their base I use like just a like grey gravel. It's almost like an ashen wasteland or an ashen barren, is what I like to think of it. And it is kind of similar colours to the dude we've just done, actually. It's like Mechanicus, Dawnstone. What's that really bright one called? Oh, Administratum Grey. Yeah, so it's like layering up the greys with dry brushing and stuff. So I figured if we're going to do the same base for these guys, it'd be quite cool with like this cloak to kind of do the same colours as the base, almost like a little camouflage. So I'm going to fill in the trousers just black, and then with this cloak I'm going to put down a base of Eshin Grey, and I'm going to like dry brush over a whole bunch of them. But yeah, we'll just quickly do one last little like grey cloak as a camouflage, and then I think everything else in this squad will probably be the same. It'll probably just be this tan colour. So then we can just move on to the final little bits, like the leather pouches and the weapons and such. Oh my god, I'm so happy with these. They look so much better than the old, ugly, like all black and all red versions that just, yeah, I really didn't like them. I'll put up a little spinny bit here so we can take a better look at the robes, because that's the main thing, right, is the robes. The tan version looks really, really nice and vibrant, like almost like Desert Storm getting stuck in, very like in the trenches. It's cool, I like it. And then, yeah, having these two grey versions as well, one for the leader and one for like the sniper rifle dude. Just some nice variants, you know. That's one of the things I didn't really think about. I was like, nope, they all need to be uniform and the same. They all need to look like the Red Corsair box art. Then once I took a break, did the things we suggested, I sort of rethought about the project, recontextualized it, maybe tried thinking outside the box and pushing my boundaries and doing some more research. Yeah, opened my mind, kind of explored and experimented a bit, and I'm really happy I did it. So, so good. So, we're not done though. We've still got like loads to paint, to be fair. Actually, I say loads. All that's left really is some leathery details, like some belts and some pouches. And I think the weapons. So I guess we can just cut this little midpoint review quite short, because we've waffled on enough at the start of this video. We'll see some painting. So let's go back down and start on, I guess we can fill in all the little details, like the pouches, the belts. This guy's got a cloak and stuff. Then we can move on to the weapons and probably base them and have a look at them. Oh, it's really starting to come together now. Yeah, these little details are one of my favourite things to do, just because it adds so much. Like, I do like the massive chunky things, like the red armour and whatnot, because it is kind of defines the mini, right? That's like the main focal point. But it's something about like finishing up the main focal point of the armour and then just like adding on all these tiny little details, like the belts, the grenades, the leather pouches. It just, I feel like that's where all the character is, and that's where the model really comes together. Yeah, I love it. So speaking of which, we're just finishing up some of these. This Lieutenant Captain dude has got a helmet on his trophy case up here. It's going to paint it in I've got some, is it Def Corp Drab? Yeah, I got some of that lying around. Maybe he just stole it from like an ex-Kriegsman he used to work with or something, or I don't know. Just thought I'd paint it up nice and green. It'd look quite cool. Then I've got the cape back here. We're going to chuck some Rakar flesh on. I've got something similar actually. Where is he? Yeah, so when it comes to the Red Corsair Raiders, they've got like a cloth on it. So I'm going to do the same as this. It's like Rakar flesh and then Reichland flesh shade. Just some cool like army cohesion. It's another thing I really like, is having like my whole army of like matching details and like little things that are similar across the ball. And here they are, some half-decent looking Red Corsair Traitor Guardsmen, and these are a massive improvement on the old all black and all red versions. Yeah, I'm so happy with what we've done with this. I'm really glad we did what we said, kind of took a step back, did some research to look for some unconventional things you didn't think about and tried outside of the box, and now we've got these cool looking sort of Desert Storm tanned Red Corsair Raiders, this nice grey one, and if we spin around to the other side, that kind of sniper dude where we tried painting his cloak the same colour as like the base. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Oh yeah, this is looking good. Really glad I kind of stepped out my comfort zone. Also took a step back and kind of did a hard reset and just tried again. So nice to know it pays off. And it's kind of in a funny way, like, pushed me to the extreme where I'm like, I kind of want to try more, you know? Like, I've got 4 or 5 more left of these dudes. I kind of want to try some absolutely wild, like, colours on the robes and the cloaks, but painting up 5 minis in one video, as well as talking about sort of how to deal with burnout or projects you don't like, and more sort of grand approaches to painting in general, I think that's enough for one video. Maybe we'll come back at another time and try, like, I don't know, 5 Red Corsair Traitor Guard recipes or something. If that's a video you'd like to see, let me know in the comments. But as for these 5 boys, I do like it. It's quite cool. I like the image if we kind of scoot them around of, yeah, having the leader in that cloak and then the sort of infantry in the tan. It's quite a cool little vibe, you know. Yeah, nice little like image there. It's quite cool having all like the leader in his own colours. And I do think the big step up for these, the paint job wise, is having that top cloak be a lot brighter than the bottom one. So you can kind of see actually here on the tester model, I kind of did them all the same colour. All the same colour, wash, kept them the same shade and lightness. Brightness? I don't know. But you can kind of see what I mean. Like on these new boys, the top cloak is a lot brighter than the trousers. The trousers are darker and dirtier, but that same shade, that same tan, Zandri Dust, Ushabti Bone, or the grey and like dark grey and stuff, I think that really helps differentiate the models and kind of gives them a bit more vibrancy and character and makes them look a lot nicer. Something I did wrong the first time. But I'm super happy with how these guys have come out, and I'm kind of keen to paint some more, you know. They're really fun little models. Ah, there we go. Some minis we really, really didn't like. Stripped, salvaged, and repainted, and now looking chef's kiss, so much better. I'm glad I did this. And it's nice sometimes to reflect on some of like the bigger things, rather than just like red paint goes here, black paint goes here. It's kind of nice to be like, I really don't like these minis, what happened, the process, and I guess sort of the approach to painting in a project like externally. It's quite nice to talk about and think sometimes, because it is like a big thing. You know, sometimes it is actually. Sometimes it is just, oh, I want to paint this mini, pick up red here, blue here. But sometimes I find, yeah, like with a project like this, I was just really not vibing with it. And then I was like, what am I even doing? Like, I don't like them. I'm painting them for the sake of it, even though I hate them. What do I do? And like, it was quite nice to have a bit of reflection on the process and sort of, yeah, how we approach painting, why you do it, you know? Because I was like, do I even want to carry these on when I'm not enjoying them? What's the point? So yeah, it was quite nice little process, a little bit therapeutic as well to kind of step away and reflect on it. It was good. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And if you did enjoy it, drop us a like and subscribe, and tune in next time. Thank you.